Um, I'm wondering if you could share maybe some of your success stories of people that have benefited from this type of technology.
Yeah, so one that comes to mind is a lady who hadn't slept more than 3 hours in 9 years. She had not slept solid more than 3 hours at a time in 9 years. And so they came to us, and we make no guarantees. We're not in that business of selling a lot of fluff and
Mhm.
all of those things. But what I did say is, try it, and I think it will benefit you. So she tried it, and she and her husband wanted to talk to us the next day. And then this was, a couple of years ago when we were just starting out. And they basically said, the husband said, after 3 hours, I went in and I put my finger under my wife's nose to see if he was still breathing.
You
And
didn't
I
get
thought, oh
sucked
my gosh, I'm glad you had faith in us,
and get
Uh,
punched.
and
Yeah.
and then it was the fourth hour, and the fifth hour, and the sixth, and the seventh, and the eighth, and the ninth. She slept 10 hours straight by listening to our sleep well frequencies, and that's we've got thousands that have come in from all over the world. We're in 133 countries now, but that's probably the biggest and the most impactful one that I could even think of. And when people get a good night's sleep, a lot of times previous episodes of anxiety or depression seem to dissipate. So getting a good night's sleep with all of your REM sleep and your deep sleep and the sleep that actually restores your cells and allows your body to heal and regenerate uh, really came true on that one testimonial. And today, that's our number one listen to frequency.
Hey, if you're getting value from this content and you haven't done so already, be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and podcast, and be sure to subscribe to the MHT newsletter. That way you don't miss out on any new content as it's released. Links in the description. Let's go. If you're anything like me, then you love health technology, biohacks, anything we can do to level up our personal development game. So if you're into health technology, stick around. You don't want to miss this episode because we are talking all about sound frequency and how we can use that for better mental health. Our guest today is Henry Penix. He is the executive chairman of Soaak Technologies. From recent U.S. Air Force contracts to bringing sound frequency therapy to the palm of hands worldwide via smartphones, Henry has his finger on the pulse of an extraordinary business vision and wellness innovation for the digital technology forefront. Henry Penix is a global entrepreneur, two-time author, speaker, investor, and advisor. Mr. Penix is the recipient of numerous awards in business, holds an honorary doctorate, and has held memberships in the U.S. and European nations. He has always remembered his humble beginnings and enjoys speaking into the lives of other entrepreneurs when possible. Henry has won the National Blue Chip Enterprise Initiative Award, has been recognized for the top 50 fastest growing companies in the state, received commendations from the Senate and House of Representatives, and had the honor of winning the SBA Entrepreneur of the Year award. Soaak Technologies is an AI-enabled health tech company using whole person approach to help reduce stress, decrease anxiety, and boost energy. Soak grew out of a holistic clinic specializing in sound frequency therapy and has provided over 15 million minutes of sound therapies in 133 countries. The Soak mobile app contains 30 unique sound frequency compositions, tried, tested, and true as an effective holistic therapy method. Each sound therapy composition has been uniquely designed with layered frequency approach that took 5 years to develop. For 8+ years, Soak's team of esteemed medical doctors, holistic practitioners, and seasoned in-office therapists have used all 30 compositions during their time in clinic. The company just locked in Phase 1 contract with the U.S. Air Force to use their sound therapies for the pilot's overall wellness, focus, and more. So without further ado, let's meet Henry. Welcome, Henry, to the Mental Health Toolbox. Thank you so much for making time to join us. I'm excited to learn all about sound frequency and how it's used for our mental health.
Hey, great to be here. I always love to talk about this topic, and our company's making strides in it. So this will be a joy.
Excellent. So let's dive in. What is sound therapy? How did you get into this space? Can you please educate our listeners on this exciting new field?
Yes, sound therapy. First of all, frequencies go back to the beginning of time because everything emits a frequency. I think we can all agree on that. Scientists can now prove that with supercomputers and other devices, et cetera, et cetera. And we've just been able to use the technologies to pull those frequencies out, combine them with sound, and make a composition that helps support anxiety, depression, low energy, et cetera.
Wow, that's fascinating. So maybe we could break that down a little bit and understand some of the science behind this, because we hear a lot of things about energy work and sound vibrations, but this is not just, something drummed up. This is proven technology. You guys have done the research, you've worked with experts in this field, and you've developed this, and it's been tested, right? Tried and true, and continuing to grow. And you're obviously doing well, right? You got a contract with the U.S. Air Force. This is definitely proof in the pudding. So I'd love to hear more about the applications of how this technology can be used.
Yes. So first, it was our goal to take everything that we had created in clinic and digitize it so it could be used out of clinic with the same efficacy. And as you know, efficacy is how it relates to your body, how it's absorbed by your cells, and if you really get the outcomes that you're claiming. So after using this technology in clinic for about 5 years and receiving numerous testimonials, et cetera, all created initially through, like you said, science, through research. There's a little bit of secret sauce that I can't
Mm-hmm.
talk about.
Of course,
but,
proprietary.
yes, that's correct. But what I can say is that the compositions that we created in clinic, allowing people to get relief from anxieties, depressions, low energy, etc., we were able to digitize and bring into the palm of your hand so that every user using Soak can actually get the same efficacies as if they were in clinic at way less the price,
Mm-hmm.
24/7 from anywhere in the world. And how you do it, because a lot of people ask me that question, is you simply go on the app. We've got Android app, we have iOS app. You pull up the Soak app, you log in, and then right there it is. You pick the frequency that you want to listen to per the outcome that you're wanting. So if it's relief from anxiety, you listen to our anti-anxiety frequencies. If you're needing to sleep better, it's our sleep well frequency, and you listen to those for anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes at a time, and it resets your entire system. It gets those cells that may be oscillating in a way that promotes anxiety to oscillate in a way that decreases anxiety. And again, after thousands of use cases and testimonials, we've been able to put it in your hand via a cell phone and to get those same clinic type outcomes.
Wow, that's fascinating. So it's not one of those things where you have to go and make an appointment in a doctor's office, go in and have this contraption wrapped around your head, and then kind of like the I know TMS, um, magnetic therapy and stuff like that
Right,
has
right.
become really popular. So when I hear about sound frequency therapy, I think about something like that, where you're going into this like almost like MRI looking machine, and it's like
Right.
encapsulating you, and it's like
Yeah,
this pod,
yeah.
but it's none of that.
No, it's not. And some of those things are, they have their places, they are useful, but our goal was to take a typical customer experience when they came in our clinic, which consisted of them, making the appointment, walking in, going to the sound frequency spa part of the clinic, setting down for 20 minutes, finishing, paying, etc. And people who, paid $800 to $1,000 a month for that type of therapy, and with the additional burden of having to make the appointment, drive to the clinic, sit there and leave, 3 or 4 times a week, can now do it for $29.99 a month, unlimited, from the comfort of their own home. That was like our biggest challenge, and one that when we finally got it right and it tested correctly, drew the eyes of people like the Airforce, Amazon, Alexa team, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so you've worked with some really big names there. And I just scrolled through your site, but there's a lot there, and that again it goes to show that this is definitely backed by people who do the research on what you're doing, who know that the work is valid. And it makes me think of apps like Headspace and a lot of these other health tech apps that have become more popular for mindfulness, for grounding, along the same vein of thinking about meditation spas, and where that even regular spas, health spas, right? They always play that music in the background, and that's soothing music. And so I know there's a lot of history to the connection between sound and our mental health, right?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about why it's effective, and what's maybe the difference between something like listening to spa music versus something like this?
Yeah. Well, again, with everything having a frequency, all types of music have different types of frequencies. So I can remember when I was driving my Pontiac Trans Am as a kid, and I had the equalizer and the power booster button. Well,
Right.
I would listen to Van Halen, or one of the hard rock. I was kind of drawn to that
Mm-hmm.
sort of music, and that in itself, the frequency of that music had a definite outcome in me. I wanted to drive my car faster. I wanted to run faster. I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to, you know what I mean? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's versus if I sit down and I'm studying in college and I turn on Bach or Beethoven.
Mm-hmm.
That has a certain effect on my bodies and on my cells and on the way that I act, react, and interact with different things. So that's just the frequency from the music itself. What we've done with Soaak Technologies is take that a level deeper. And when you actually pull the frequency that those sounds create, and you can duplicate that frequency that has been proven to reduce anxiety or help you sleep better or reduce depression, and then you mix those with yet another unique sound like a guitar or something like that in the background, or even a nature sound, it improves the efficacy even that much more. So you're getting a kind of a fully loaded, it's just not what sound sounds like or the frequency from sound, but the actual frequency plus sound.
Right. I've seen some research on that in the past. I've never deep dived with it, but certain like megahertz of this and megahertz of that are
Yeah.
to elicit different mental states, right?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. That's really fascinating stuff. It really
Yeah.
is. Yeah,
We're
I'm glad
very,
it's getting traction. Yeah. So how did you get into the health tech space in the first place?
uh, one of my previous companies, I took all around the world. We had a technology company that had a certain piece of technology that would help you. If you ever walked away from your phone, it would sound an alarm. And then if you ever got in trouble, you could take this device, press on the center button, and it would send out an SOS signal and actually call 911 and summons emergency responders. So I took that all over the world. We were in all the Apple stores. And coming out of that, I actually started to get interested in more of the health tech space. And this was right before COVID hit. So COVID didn't cause this, but it certainly created a larger need for it. So I took my technology experience that I'd received in my previous tech company and combined it with a space that I was very interested in, which is health tech, and Soaak Technologies was born.
Wow, right? That is fascinating. What a great way to serve others, right? When you identify this shared experience of the pandemic, this stress, everybody feels like an island, isolated. And we all know now the impact on mental health, right, from the pandemic. But you were there to serve first, and you said, "How can I help more people with
Right. Yeah,
this?"
that
Right.
that's been sort of a and I was talking to a friend of mine who's known me for 20 plus years, and he was reflecting back on my career. He was very successful with Capital One, and he created a lot of things for them. And he said, Henry, he said, it really amazes me looking back on your career that everything that you've done, being a serial entrepreneur, it's always been to help someone's life get better. How can I better someone's life, which ultimately betters society? And I guess that's just in me. I'm competitive by nature, and I love to discover new things. So I guess if you put those two things together, then all of a sudden we certainly have a company that can impact the world and make it a little better.
And to serve first, I think, is the secret sauce of any successful company,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
I mean, if you solve people's problems, they'll come beating down your door, you know?
Yes, yeah, you never have to worry about the money part if you're following your passion one, and that passion is to help others. The money usually always follows.
Yeah. And I think one of the challenges, I think everybody can acknowledge what they struggle with: anxiety, depression, stress, and everybody wants relief from pain. But I think one of the challenges in the mental health space in particular, or the health and wealth space, and those things that we tend to be attracted to because of our challenges, life challenges, is cutting through the noise. We see so many different ads, things thrown at us about this will work and that'll work and this will solve your problem. Um, I'm wondering if you could share maybe some of your success stories of people that have benefited from this type of technology.
Yeah, so one that comes to mind is a lady who hadn't slept more than 3 hours in 9 years. She had not slept solid more than 3 hours at a time in 9 years. And so they came to us, and we make no guarantees. We're not in that business of selling a lot of fluff and
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. But what I did say is, try it, and I think it will benefit you. So she tried it, and she and her husband wanted to talk to us the next day. And then this was, a couple of years ago when we were just starting out. And they basically said, the husband said, after 3 hours, I went in and I put my finger under my wife's nose to he was still breathing.
You
And
didn't
I
get
thought, oh
sucked
my gosh, I'm glad you had faith in us,
and get
Uh,
punched.
and
Yeah.
and then it was the fourth hour, and the fifth hour, and the sixth, and the seventh, and the eighth, and the ninth. She slept 10 hours straight by listening to our sleep well frequencies, and that's we've got thousands that have come in from all over the world. We're in 133 countries now, but that's probably the biggest and the most impactful one that I could even think of. And when people get a good night's sleep, a lot of times previous episodes of anxiety or depression seem to dissipate. So getting a good night's sleep with all of your REM sleep and your deep sleep, and the sleep that actually restores your cells and allows your body to heal and regenerate, uh, really came true on that one testimonial. And today, that's our number one listened to frequency.
Wow. That's fascinating. That's a huge problem. As a therapist, I know I deal with a lot, so many people who struggle with insomnia. And you're absolutely right. If we're not sleeping right, nothing else is going to work right.
100%.
And we need those full REM cycles in order for the body to do its job of restoring our our physical well-being, our mental well-being, even on a hormonal level, right? That's when we
Oh,
develop that's
100%.
when we create the human growth hormone, is when we're
Yep.
asleep. And that's a precursor for the development of serotonin, right? As is tryptophan and niacin. And it's kind of the triad that, the building blocks of serotonin, which is our mood regulating hormone.
Yes.
And if we don't have enough serotonin, then we suffer from anxiety and depression. That's, kind of what the science says. And so that's what SSRIs are. That's what antidepressants are. They're helping us recycle that serotonin, right?
Yep.
Because the assumption is we run low. Well, if we're not sleeping right, that's a definite blow to our serotonin production system.
Right.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Yeah, that helps and cures so much just in itself. So with our company, we try to look at a more holistic way of addressing concerns. And with sound frequency compositions, where we layer frequencies on top of each other, we were able to get the science right, where usually people are in 5-10 minutes and they start to feel drowsy. They get into 15 to 20, and most people don't make it past about 20 minutes. And I use it all the time myself, because I have a very heavy workload. We're expanding all over the world, and it's very difficult for me to quiet my mind. But if I just sit in a chair and listen to the sleep well frequency, which is one of my favorite frequencies, I always get a restful night's sleep.
That's fascinating. You can even layer the different frequencies on top of each other, kind of like a recipe, right?
Yeah, yeah. When I was talking about our secret sauce, that's it.
Right? Yeah, I was gonna ask you, as you can see, what maybe sets you apart from other similar companies, like I said, Headspace and stuff that have these built-in meditations or whatever. But I guess that would be understanding specifically what it is you're targeting, what the needs are, and then finding I'm guessing a way in the app. Does it label kind of maybe what you're asking for? Like if I have insomnia, I could easily just find the sleep better frequency or
Oh
the
yeah, yeah. I know this would be more professional if I pulled it up on screen, but when you go behind the paywall, you get a thing that says, the frequency library. You're seeing my light in the background, but when you just hit the frequency library button, then all of a sudden up comes like anti-anxiety. It'll tell you a little bit about it, and you can go through all 30: sleep well, depression relief, etc. But when you hit this, let me turn on the music part. Uh, then all of a sudden it just starts playing that frequency behind the music for anti-anxiety.
that is so cool. I love that.
Right at the touch of your fingers. And if you play that for anyone, and we were in Washington D.C. a couple months ago, and there's some very type A high strung people, and when we would go in and talk about our sound frequencies, I know, yeah, yeah, me too. When you listen to that, in about the first 10 to 15 seconds, you can feel something kind of in the pit of your stomach. And I don't have proof that this is correct, but I think it probably even affects the vagus nerve some. But I know I do have proof that it realigns you at a cellular level, and you can actually feel that. And if you sit there for another minute or two, it can reset your entire day. Unlike meditation, and you asked me what differentiated us from other companies like Calm or Headspace, is that we have the frequency. And when you use the frequency, even with meditation, a lot of our clients are saying that 5 minutes of meditation with frequency is like an hour of meditation without. So you can get some of the same results in about 5 minutes adding frequency as you can doing an entire hour of meditation without frequency. So it's a good bang for the buck if you're pressed for time, and and you don't have to meditate with it either. You can use the frequencies passively. So if you've got in your earphones or whatever, you can walk around the house, do work, work out, just anything from a passive standpoint, because your cells are listening to the frequencies that totally realign you and give you the outcome that we created them to give you in clinic.
Wow, fascinating. And so this makes me wonder, because I always have AirPods in, wherever
Right.
I go. I'm listening to a podcast or something, and something educational, because like you said, my mind's always going.
Yep.
How can I do this better? What can I learn? I'm always looking for new information and
A hack.
actionable stuff. Yeah, a hack of some sort.
Me too. Yeah.
Um, but does this app work better with headphones or without? Like if I'm laying down in bed, should I be sleeping with headphones on, or can I just play it through my phone? Does it matter? Have you noticed?
No, the efficacy seems to be the same. We've got reports of people who will play it through their Alexa device. They'll play it through their home stereo system, or they'll just set the phone next to their bed. I know I've got a massage chair in my office, and I'll just walk in and put the phone kind of on my lap or on the I got a little side table, and I'll turn on like an anti-anxiety frequency or something, and just sit there, and I'm getting massaged and just letting my mind relax, and those frequencies which are speaking to my cells, kind of like a dog whistle where you blow it and the dog hears it but you don't. It kind
Right.
of works the same principle, that the frequency is tuned in such a way that your cells will pick it up regardless of how loud or soft it is. That's why we can layer it under music and under nature sounds with the same efficacy. So it's a little bit easier on the ears, and will get you the end result. Our new app's actually going to allow you to mix our frequency with anything you're listening to. So if you're listening to a podcast or Audible book or
Ah,
whatever, you can have that turned down in the background and be receiving a frequency treatment, plus learning what you're learning from the podcast you're listening to or the audiobook or whatever.
that is so cool.
That's a hack for you.
Wow. And now I bet implementing something like that would be tricky because you'd have to have app overlay, like allow an
Yeah,
app to play
yeah,
during another app. Because sometimes there's like a conflict. Like if I want to listen to my podcast, but my music app's on, then it shuts down the other. To
yeah,
obviously, so that would be so cool if you could figure that out.
yeah.
I would be down.
Well, we did figure it out, and our new app
Woo!
released toward the end of the year. You'll be able to access that way. So
That's so cool. I can't wait to try it. That's
yeah,
awesome.
good.
That is so awesome. So good to know. I don't have to go and buy like a Bose surround sound,
No,
with acoustics and
no,
everything in my
no.
house
That
to like
that would cause you
immerse.
more anxiety trying to get it, pay for it.
Right? Good, good.
Cause me
Glad to hear.
anxiety.
Right? Right. In your work with this software, have you noticed any potential problems in terms of risk factors, damage? I mean, it sounds pretty positive, but have you
Yep.
caught any snags with that?
No, we haven't as of yet, and over having users in 133 countries now. We do surveys, and our last survey said that 97% of the customers that we surveyed said that Soak had improved their life in at least one way, in a positive way. So we've had zero reports of any negative side effects. If you look up frequency use and you look on YouTube or whatever, you can see that frequency's sort of gone the wrong way, and these one in a million things have affected. Like I think there's a video out that shows like a bridge. There was a certain vibration that the wind caused on a bridge, and the frequency that like basically took out the bridge. And you've seen the opera singers when they sing such a high pitch, the glass
Right.
pots.
Uh-huh.
We don't go anywhere near those ranges.
Okay.
But that is a way that frequencies, could have a negative outcome. It's just like lasers. You can use a laser as a pointer, but if you make it too strong, it can cut through glass.
That makes
Uh,
sense, right? Because I can imagine if people are careless with this kind of technology and they just throw stuff out there trying to, get some views, likes, some traction, some business, and they're not doing the research, they could potentially do damage,
yeah, yeah.
you
You
know.
you've always got the bad guy,
Yeah.
so to speak, and that's in anything. You build a car too fast. You could do several things. You know, trying to get a different outcome, but our outcome has always been, again, to help people and to alleviate anxiety, depression, increase energy. There's a great workout frequency that it's actually called exercise enhancement. We've got a male testosterone boost that's big. The guy that helped us put that together, it's funny. He says he goes into bench and he reps 450 free weights, and he says, I'll not go in the gym before I listen to my Soaak frequencies for 20 minutes. And I said, you really saw that much of an increase? And he said, absolutely. So
Wow.
it's really cool what frequencies can do. And I'm glad that science is at a point now where it can start measuring frequencies more specifically, and measuring energy fields and the exact effect they have on our body. And that just, that adds more fuel to our fire, where we can take that and say, here's even more science. If you weren't convinced before, read these things and then, give us a try.
And it seems like historically, mankind has figured some of this out a long time ago, hence the monks and the ohms, right? The ohming, the vibrations,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no, and like Native American, I'm Native American. The chants and things that they use, and even the frequency from the beat of the drum when you
Hmm.
hit it a certain way, and the volumes, and yeah, you're absolutely right. It's been around forever, but the technology to produce it in your hand via your mobile phone has never been here, and that's what we're so excited about, that we've um, discovered a way to keep the efficacies correct and keep them the same as we found in clinic, and give people 24 access to something that's, you're right, that's been around forever but never been available until now.
That is fascinating. So you've already broken a lot of ground, obviously, with the technology. Where do you see the future of this going?
I see it being much more accessible and easier to uh, to get access. I mentioned our new app coming out. We're also releasing AI in our new app, and the ability to read biometrics.
That
So
sounds
if
cool.
you have an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, Apple Health, if you give us permission, we do nothing invasively, but if you give us permission, we'll actually read your biometrics, and I'll give you a quick use case. Say it's 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, evening, and you're going home from work, and your heart rate starts to go up. Our AI will ask you, are you going to work? Are you driving home? Is there something that's increasing the stress level in your life right now? Or maybe you're not driving, maybe you're working out and your heart rate's starting to go up. So whatever you answer will give us the ability and our AI to say, if you're stressed, use this anti-anxiety frequency to calm down, especially before you get home. Your wife will appreciate it, your kids.
Right.
But if you're working out, use this exercise enhancement. Like, let's get everything out of the workout you're doing today. Let's be efficient. Let's be effective, and give you that boost you need. So that's where I see this whole industry going, into a more again, easy to access and a more intuitive product and service, where it's your digital health concierge in your hand, like it's your best friend in your hand, that is there to interact with you in all parts of your life, certainly all parts that you will allow it and you want it to.
I'm a big fan of using technology to keep me accountable, to help me work smarter, not harder. And
Right.
I mean, something as simple as like my Apple Watch tapping my wrist to remind me to get up because I've been in front of the computer for 10 hours. That's
Yes.
even that's
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah, because you can lose track of time.
Yeah. Right? My
Yeah, no,
back thinks
and
again.
sort of one of our, and I'm glad you said that about the Apple Watch. Anything that reads biometrics, usually, and I know there's some companies improving, but usually you can read the biometric, but what do you do after you've read it?
Right.
now how is that information useful? And more than that, what can you do with that information now to get a positive outcome? And that's where we sort of bridge that gap. We can read the biometrics and say your heart rate's increased, your oxygen levels are lower, your blood pressure's up, whatever you allow us to read, and give you something that will help right then, right in the moment. A lot of people who call us and they can't sleep, or get our app to use because they can't sleep, there's normally not an office open at 11, 12 at night, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning for you to go in and have a session with somebody. So we also see this as a complementary service to your normal therapy sessions, or whatever you're doing to continue to improve the quality of your life. It's that thing that can be there when somebody can't.
I love that. So it's again to augment your existing treatment,
Yes,
right? As a way to add more value, right?
100%.
That's wonderful.
And if the therapist takes it to their clients, they're the superhero. We have zero ego. We want therapists to introduce this to their people and help. If it can help, just if you can increase efficacy, or if you can increase somebody's journey by just 1 or 2%, and do that over time, it can put them in a totally different place at the end of sessions, and at the end of where they're wanting to go. So we use the analogy of the golf ball. You hit
Mhm.
it right in the sweet spot and you got a straight shot. But if you get it a 16th of an inch off, something so small, it may only veer a 0.5% or 1% right off of the face of the club. But if it goes a couple hundred yards, it's in the trees. So if we can change somebody or help improve 1%, 1 or 2%, we don't want you ending up in the trees. We want you in the fairway.
Right.
We want
I
you in
love
the
I love that analogy. That makes complete sense to me.
yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. So if somebody is wanting to get started with frequency therapy, and let's say they want to start with your app, what would you recommend to a newbie like maybe me, who
Yeah.
wants to start testing how I could use this in my own life? What areas would be a good place to start? What specific recipes within your app would be a good place to kind of break ground?
Right. Well, the first thing would be, go to our website, at soak.com, SOAAK.com, and put in the promo code MHT30. MHT30 will give you 30 days free to try it. Don't take my word for anything. I want you to try it yourself, and you'll see the difference. You'll begin to feel the difference after your first session. But like I was showing you earlier, sort of behind the paywall is access to these 30 frequencies that anything you need help with, we're there to help. So whether it's anxiety, depression, find the outcome that you want amongst those 30, and then go to that specific frequency and play it for 5-10 minutes. Just sit quietly, think about the outcome that you want, and listen. Take a break. A lot of people do it a couple of times a day, usually upon waking, and then when you're going to sleep at night. The sleep well frequency, whether you're getting a quick cat nap or you're going to sleep for a long night's sleep, it could be used in both areas, like that. If you're working out, there's an exercise enhancement. There's even a creativity frequency that helps your brain focus on one thing at a time instead of being all over the place. Uh, so it's a blast. And what I haven't got into is we also send you a mindful attention twice a day. So something positive that just pushes to your app, and you can read, on your screen, and you would be surprised. Uh, as we stand for the saying, "What you think about, you bring about." You'd
I
be
like that.
surprised at the people who read that positive affirmation just once or twice a day, that resets their mind in the middle of a very hectic day. You know, it's like your best friend calling you right when you went through a very tough time, saying, "Hey, man, I know you've got the strength to get through this. Let's get up and take some steps." You know, like just that simple sentence uh, can also help change your life, certainly change your mind. So when you get both of those things, you know, one is automated, those come to you twice a day. You can tell us what time of the day you want those mindful intentions. And then the other is just access to the frequencies, all 30 of them, 24/7, 365. So it's a self-guided thing. Go through it. What you find that you might need in that library of 30 frequencies, play it. You can play the raw frequency by itself. You can play nature sounds behind it, or you can play music behind it. All three have the same efficacy. So no need to worry about that. But yeah, that's how I would suggest getting started.
Wow. Thank you. That was an excellent, excellent explanation of how we can get moving on this. And so, in case anyone missed it, if you want to check this out for free, definitely use the promo code MHT30 and you can jump in and find out for yourself. And I can definitely see myself using this for my power naps because I'm a big believer in power naps and
Yep,
resets. And
you and Einstein.
yeah, right? See, I knew I was onto something.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't the first one to figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, big time. Like, especially around 1 o'clock. I just know when my body crashes. I think people should know when their body is telling them it's time to take a break and take a break. You know, but
100%. Yeah, used to. It's like, you know, how hard can I work? How can I push through and all this? But if you actually listen to your body, like you're saying, and take that break, uh, you'll be better off for it ultimately. You've probably heard this story, but the guy who wanted to be the axe championship, he watched this guy chopping down trees with an axe. Every year, this guy would win, and he studied him for 4 or 5 years, and he entered the contest. And he said, "I'm going to beat this guy."
hmm.
Every hour and a half, I see him take a 15-minute break, and when he's taking his break, I'm going to chop harder, and so I know I'll be able to beat him. Well, he entered the contest, and the whole thing, you know, took its course. And at the end, this guy lost to him. So the champion was still the champion.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked over to him and he said, "Hey, I had it all figured out. Every time you took a break, I chopped harder. And why did you wind up with a larger pile of wood than mine?" And he said, "Well, during that 15-minute break," he said, "I was sharpening my axe."
Ah.
So when we take a 15, 20-minute power nap, we're sharpening our mind so that we can come back and be more effective than if we tried just to push through it.
Man, give me goosebumps.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. That's so true, right? Sometimes we feel like if we just do more, a little more, squeeze a little more blood out of a rock, you know,
Yeah.
we'll get more done, but not necessarily and not as effectively.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
For sure. Plus, it's not good for your mental health.
No, it's not.
Awesome. So if we want to learn more about the work you're doing, you have an Instagram account right here.
Yep.
Right?
Everything's
and that's
at Daily Soak.
Daily Soak, right? At Daily Soak. I'm following you right now. There we go.
Oh, thank you very much.
For sure. Thank you. And there's your Instagram, following there as well. Soaak Technologies and X / formerly known as Twitter. Definitely active on there. I know all these, like, gotta make sure I say it right. I'll follow you there too. So love the work you're doing. I definitely want to keep up with this field that you're making a lot of headway in, and obviously doing a great job in it. I'm gonna check this out for myself and start improving my power naps, powering up my power naps with a little bit of frequency there.
Turbocharge your power naps.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you, Henry, for being on today and sharing this new tool with our audience. That's what we're all about here: is better tools for mental health, better tools for therapists to serve at their best. And you've been a big help with that today. So thank you for the work you're doing.
Oh, and thank you for keeping us all mentally stable, and what your work you're doing is such a sacrifice, and It betters humanity overall. And so thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you. That's the goal, is to give back. So appreciate
Yep.
it.
Cool. All
And
right.
yeah, you're always welcome back on if you want to bring us up to speed on how things are going.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you. With that, I wish you a great week. I know you're a busy guy and taking over the world with better mental health.
Yep, exactly. Thank you.
All right.
Have a great week.
You too. Godspeed.